Touchdown in Virginia. On board are 220 political prisoners from Nicaragua who've been freed and deported to the US. The Nicaraguan government has described them as traitors and stateless. But for activists, their release is a fast victory against a regime of repression.
There were days when I lost hope, but my father was always optimistic. The whole family stayed optimistic, and so did my mother. She never lost hope that freedom would be restored.
Among those freed is former presidential hopeful Juan Sebastián Chamorro, who was jailed in the run-up to the 2021 election.
Obviously, there was a celebratory atmosphere on the plane. We sang the national anthem several times, especially when leaving Nicaragua. It feels bittersweet. On one hand, we're pleased to be free, but on the other, the reality that we've been banished by the regime.
President Ortega has maintained that his imprisoned opponents were behind the 2018 protests he claims were a plot to overthrow him. Authorities violently put down the anti-government demonstrations. More than 350 people were killed and hundreds were arrested. In response to the repression, the US and the EU have imposed sanctions on Nicaragua. Washington welcomed the release of political opponents, but continues to call for a return to the rule of law.
The release of these individuals by the government of Nicaragua marks a constructive step towards addressing the human rights abuses in that country.
In the past 2 years, President Ortega has sharply cracked down on both the press and on critics. Many have been forced into exile.